Lisa Colon is one of the top construction attorneys in South Florida. Although she is thriving at the peak of career, it wasn't always like this. Growing up, Lisa had a less common living situation than most people.
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, in a very tough neighborhood. So I, didn't have a traditional family like mom and dad together. I was raised by my grandmother, who is an extremely resilient, strong woman who taught me everything, and is probably the reason why I'm sitting here today.
Achieving her goals was difficult at times, especially with the unbalanced number of women and people of color in her field. By working hard, she was able to become one of the first female of color in construction law.
I didn't really have mentors in the traditional sense, but I always tried to learn from other folks. I would try to, see who was the best lawyer in my firm that did X, and then I would try to pattern and learn, like, what did they do? So that's kind of how I just always and being curious too. One of the things that you have to always be open to, just one, being curious and learning through your peers, learning, just reading, always trying to figure out what's next, always trying to be one step ahead of the curve.
Lisa recognizes how much of a struggle it might be for young women, especially women of color, to achieve their goals. So she reaches out into the community whenever she can.
But I do think it's my responsibility to mentor younger female attorneys of color. Right? So I take that obligation very serious. So anytime anyone asks me to be a mentor, especially if it's a woman of color, I absolutely try to make it work with my schedule. I currently have 2 young ladies that I've mentored up, and they're doing fantastic in their careers. And I think that's just my obligation. To whom much is given, much is expected.
Lisa hopes that future generations will be able to look at the world and not be afraid to fight for what they want. Whether it's because of the low numbers of women or people of color, she wants people to be able to realize that they can achieve anything.
I talked about not taking the easy path, being uncomfortable. Growth comes from being uncomfortable. I always believe that no matter how successful you are, there's always room for improvement in your life. There's always room to do better, and there's always room to grow.
Reporting for Radar Vision, I'm David Haisch.